I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God is the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all and all, leading us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. All that I want you to do is command my hands. What must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me. And you, so use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. I am listening to the music of the Holy Spirit.
You can hear that music.
Oh, what a song God is singing. I will listen all day long. I will listen all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Spirit.
Praise the Spirit.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh yeah, hey
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey yeah.
Oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Spirit.
Praise the Spirit.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Spirit.
Praise the Spirit.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
As we stop and turn within, truly sensing our oneness with the divine presence, we sense now that our very life is the very essence of God, that our life, our being, our very nature represents all of the qualities of God, represents the peace, the love, the joy, the harmony, the wisdom of infinite spirit. It is in this way that I give my entire life, entire being to pure spirit, to be a conscious place for God to do its will, its magic, to demonstrate its beauty through and as me. In this way, I simply say, thank you, Father, Mother God. I release it. I let it go. I let it be. Amen.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit
That's a little taste of what it's like on a Sunday morning at Agape. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our live stream service. Oh, Tina's here, Elizabeth's here, Emily, Charles, and Julie, Brandy, the fixer of all things, Emily, Sarah. Lots of people are here this morning. Let's start off with our own opening treatment. And let me go ahead and hit play on this beautiful piece of music by Reverend Donna Michael. Here we go. I invite us all on this beautiful Sunday morning to just take a breath. Let's just breathe. Knowing that right where each of us is, there's only one thing that's happening, and that is God, life. Expressing itself, individualizing itself through and as each of us. I like what Dr. Ken Gordon always says when he says, I believe in God and absolutely nothing else. I believe in God and absolutely nothing else. And so this morning, this beautiful Sunday, April 19th, I declare and know that there is one life. That life is divine. That life is my life and the life of each of us here this morning. That life is perfect. And I know and affirm that it is individualizing itself, expressing itself, living itself through and as each of us as perfect health, wellness, intelligence, kindness, givingness. I simply know that all is well in this life that we all are sharing, our community, our state, our country, our world, united as never before against a common biological idea, a common biological threat, a common biological challenge. We are truly one. And knowing that this is the truth of who we are, in gratitude, I release my word gratefully into that loving and mechanically accurate law. I release my word into the action of that law, knowing that all is well. And I let it be and I let it go, as together we say as one. And so it is. And so it is. Well, good morning, and welcome back to the High Desert Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Doug. This is our Sunday service. Oh, Fred Wilbanks is here. Mark Shoup is here. Christy is here. It's good to see you all here. I love the way that our community has been keeping itself together during this time. We've been doing a really good job, and let's continue to do that with and for each other. Let's start off this morning by reading Dr. Holmes's promises. Here, I'll put them up on the screen. Here we go. Let's say this together. I keep the promise that I have made myself to affirm in this moment that I am abundant, healthy, strong, and happy. I keep the intention to daily speak this truth to my inner soul, telling it that it is wonderful and marvelous, that it is one with the great cause of life, truth, power, and action. I whisper these things into my soul until it breaks forth into songs of joy with the realization of its limitless possibilities. I assure my soul. I assure my soul. Well, let's assure our souls now by singing I Remember Who I Am. I've got my ukulele here. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. Let's sing that again. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. We are life. We are life. We are light. We are love. We are joy. We are peace. We are wisdom. And beauty beautiful harmony. We are pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. Yes, who we are. His pure spirit. Oh, who we are. His pure spirit. I see some text there that say, turn up my volume. Well, on the meters here, it looks like my volume is really high. So here, I'll turn it up a little bit, but I don't want to distort. So try and turn yours up at home as well. David and Sia are here. Is that better? I need the volume louder too, even with my hearing aids. Well, let's see. I've got my microphone turned all the way up. So let's see what that does for everybody. I hope that's better. I also moved closer to the microphone. I can pull the mic down. Here, want to see where the mic is? The mic's right there. So good. Oh, everybody else says volume is good. Okay, good. So let's go on to our Dr. Holmes's Declaration of Principle. We call this What We Believe, or our Declaration of Principle. It was originally published in Science of Mind magazine all the way back in the fall of, I think, November of 1927 as What We Believe. So let's all read this together. I believe in one power, one living spirit, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. I believe that spirit expresses through me and is the unity of all life. I believe that the kingdom of heaven is within, and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. I believe that all thought is creative, and that how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. So people are saying, sounds good to me, sounds good to me, sounds good to me. So if it doesn't sound loud enough to you, here's the rattle of my mala. If it doesn't sound good enough to you, you might want to turn up your speakers at home. So Emily sent me some beautiful pictures from around the center this week. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous pictures of the flowers blooming. And Emily is featured in our choir corner this morning. And here's Emily singing, I'm Yours.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, you done to me. I bet that I felt it. Got to be chill, but you're so hot that I melted. Fell right through the cracks. And I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest. Nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, open up your mind and see like me. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Listen to the music of the moment, people dance and sing. There's one big family, and it's our God-forsaken right to be loved, love, 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 love. So I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm sure there's no need to Vacate, your time is short. It cannot wait. I'm yours. Do 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 do. Oh, do 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 do. Come on over closer, dear. I will nibble your ear. Oh, do 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 do, do 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 do. Do 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 do. I've been spending way too long touching my tongue in the mirror, bending over backwards just to try and see clear, but my breath fogged up the glass, and so I drew a new face on the left. I guess what I'll be saying is there ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanities and just go with the season. It's what we aim to do. Our name is our virtue, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. Open up your mind and then you'll see. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find the sky is yours. So please don't, please don't, please don't. There's no need to complicate, 'cause our time is short. Oh, this is our fate. I'm yours.
Thank you, Emily. That was just awesome. Hi, Mary. Good morning. You're on camera, Mary.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so impressed with your ability to join us with technology this morning. Thank you for, first of all, putting it on your computer, putting Skype on your iPad, being willing to juggle in this morning. So I'm going to hand it over to you right now for the affirmation and the flames of faith, and it's all yours.
Thank you. The affirmation. At church, I say it first and then you say it, but I have no way of knowing whether you're saying it while I'm saying it, and that's just fine. The affirmation today is: today I write the unwritten chapter of my life, absolutely free from past experience. Again, today I write the unwritten chapter of my life, absolutely free from my past experiences. And now we do the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony on Sundays to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all beings, come from the one great universal presence which we call Spirit. The unity candle represents the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle, honoring all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principle. We light the 10th candle for inclusivity, honoring, affirming that all are welcome here. And as we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light names of loved ones, knowing that they have the experience of Spirit's eternal love. And now, it's my privilege to do a spiritual mind treatment for our community. Blessed Spirit of the universe, whose thought has created everything that is, nothing is outside of Spirit. We are in Spirit, and we are in community in Spirit. Thank you, God, for this wonderful community. Thank you that we are all supporting this community and keeping it going in this time of great stress. Thank you that we know that we are part of the One, that each individual mind is a little outpost of the great mind. Thank you for the privilege of life. I am affirming right now that this coming week, starting Sunday, today, is going to be a wonderful week for everyone listening to me. And I want to say everyone in the whole world. I'm releasing this into God's ear, into the mind of God. And my heart fills with gratitude for my certainty that these words will be fulfilled. Thank you, God. Thank you. And I let this go into that infinite source of all good things, all things. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we got this together. So now that we've got it together, we know that next time around it'll even be easier. So thank you. Have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
Sunday. You can join the rest of the service, and I'm going to now unceremoniously hang up on you.
That's okay.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Doug.
right. All right. Let me hang up on Skype there. Oh, yep. And there goes Skype. Okay, good. All right. Well, this morning, our global vision for everybody is unwritten, and of course, it was based on the song "Unwritten" by Natasha Bedingfield. So, well, let's go ahead and watch Natasha Bedingfield and her great song "Unwritten." The rest is still unwritten. That, of course, is what a great song and what a great video. Natasha Bedingfield. That song's been around for a while, but doesn't change for me how impactful this message is. She says, I am unwritten, can't read my mind. I'm undefined. I'm just beginning. The pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Your story is waiting to be written. So what story are we gonna write in our lives? We all write the unwritten story of our life. You know, Dr. Holmes famously, let's go the other way. Dr. Holmes famously wrote, "Principle is not bound by precedent." And even though we hear that quote often, it's really only part of the actual quote. It's only a small part of the actual quote, which actually is, because we fail to realize that principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and few, quote unquote, miracles result. Because we fail to realize that principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and few miracles result. The past is not precedent. You know, that means that what happened in the past does not necessarily have to affect or define what's going on in our present or what we create in our future. Each and every moment in our life is a new opportunity to make a new choice and to consciously align our thoughts with our highest self, with that evolutionary impulse of creative intelligence. Our individual stories combine with everybody's stories and make up the collective story of our families, our communities, the global hive of human life on planet Earth. The choices that we make and the stories that we write have the power to manifest healing and good in a world that's currently, well, it currently seems very confusing and very divisive and very conflictual if you listen to the news. If you listen to the news. But that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing in a world that people are unifying, writing a story individually and collectively and bringing forth more peace, more kindness, more love, more of a global experience of unity. That's how a lot of people are doing it. And how do we do it? How do we do that? How do we bring out more peace, more kindness, more love, more of a global experience of unity? Well, one thing that we have to do is we have to recognize that telling our stories and retelling our stories has been a tool that we've used to shape and define what we've manifested here on planet Earth. Our stories are powerful, and remember that each of us is born out of infinite potential. We are born out of the infinite potential of universal mind, universal creativity, and we live and we move and we have our being in a field of limitless possibilities. And yet, we are the product of the telling of the stories of our lives. And our stories have and continue to shape our attitudes, our beliefs, our behaviors, and yes, our experiences too. And our perspectives can either limit those experiences in our lives or expand our experience of life. And we're so much more than just our stories. We're so much more. I love a book called The Biology of Belief, and Dr. Bruce Lipton, who wrote The Biology of Belief, he says, we are conscious co-creators in the evolution of life. We have free will, and we have choices. Consequently, our success is based on our choices, which are in turn totally dependent on our awareness. Our choices are totally dependent on our awareness. So we direct our infinite potential by both our conscious and unconscious use of the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect. We have the ability in every moment to rewrite past chapters of our lives and author new, unwritten chapters through the use of the metaphysical nature of the universe. Through our use of the metaphysical nature of the universe. And when we do that, we have the ability to create experiences that bring us more joy, more contentment in life. But something sometimes prevents us from using our connection to the metaphysical nature of the universe. Something prevents us, because sometimes, what if What if we're addicted to telling that same old story over and over again of our pain and our suffering? What if we're addicted and we can't stop? Well, I was searching for some great wisdom about this, and here's a great video by Iyanla.
Keep tweeting us, sending your Facebook posts. We're loving them. We're feeling you here in St. Louis. Life Class is really all about people being completely honest about what has them stuck and in pain in their lives. And the question I asked before the break is, how do we get unstuck and tell another story? What is the story we should be telling?
So tell the absolute truth. First of all, you got to look at how you contribute to your pain. You don't have to get stuck there, but you have to own it. Tell the absolute truth about who you are, about what you want, about what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Tell the absolute radical truth. That's number one. Number two.
Can you do that when you don't even know it? Like Steve has
Steve
been telling
knows his truth.
He's been telling the same story for so long, he thinks that is his truth.
Well, once he stops telling that, the new one will bubble to the surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to stop telling that one. Literally have to stop yourself in the tracks. You know, here's a big story I wish everybody, I'm just a single mom and I can't. That story is not helping you. That may be a reality. Here's the principle. State the facts, speak the truth. Amen. Here's the fact. I'm raising children without the benefit of a partner. That's the fact. Here's the truth. Right where I am, the fullness of God is, and me and God is a majority. Same story. Do you understand?
Yes.
The other thing is, ask for what you want. This is how you get unstuck. Ask for what you want. Most of us are stuck because we're accepting what comes along and we don't have the chutzpah, the cojones, the nerve, the guts, the whatever to ask for what we want. And ask for what you want, being willing to get a no, but then having a clear idea, vision of what you're going to do about it. Finally, get a vision. A vision will pull you out of the story. Don't be walking around, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I want. Get some kind of vision. I want to open an ice cream parlor. I want to wake up every morning. The vision will pull you forward. Tell the truth, say what you want, ask for what you want, get a vision, the vision will pull you forward. That's it now. I don't have anything else to say. Goodbye.
All right.
Wow. She blows my mind, you know. Tell the absolute radical truth about who you are, right? Ask for what you want and get a vision. Tell the absolute radical truth about who you are, what you want, and get a vision. But how do we get a vision? What if we're stuck and we don't have a vision? Well, the way that we get a vision is through our prayer and meditation, through our spiritual practice. Brandy says, perfect. Yes, I agree. She was great. How do we get a vision? By doing our spiritual practice. I mean, it's like the recipe for my talk every Sunday for 30 years is how do we get a vision? By spiritual practice, through our spiritual practice, through prayer and meditation. And so in being radically truthful about who we are and what we want, we have to acknowledge and honor where we come from and have gratitude for our story. And acknowledge that while our story has contributed to bringing us here, as Dr. Holmes teaches us, principle is not bound by precedent. What happened in the past does not have to have any influence on what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're experiencing in this future. We have complete freedom. That's our greatest gift from God, is our relationship to the metaphysical nature of the universe and our ability to choose what we want to experience. Sarah says, always ask for what you want with a vision. I love it. Charles says, a vision will pull you out of the story. Great. Yes, absolutely the true. And you know what? Here's the thing. It is absolutely true, and I recognize that not everyone has had a happy story up until now. We know that this is true. Each of us is in motion, revolving around each other on planet Earth, and not everybody has made healthy choices at times, and not everybody has had a happy story up until now. And we really never know what another person has been through. Never. But for us to arrive at, to come to a peaceful place within our own story, we have to consciously choose to change our perspective and to see that story in a new light, and to use our imagination to recognize the power of our perspective. And of course, this always comes up when we're talking about this. Is our glass going to be considered to be half full or half empty? That completely depends on the perspective that we come from. Is our glass half empty or half full? Completely depends on the perspective that we're choosing, that we come from. And there's always the choice of a different perspective. Why not choose a perspective that's uplifting and nurturing? It's your choice. God has given you what Dr. Holmes calls volition. Volition doesn't just mean choosing, it means the power to choose. Why not choose a perspective that is uplifting and nurturing? It is your choice. Changing your thinking will change your life experience. Doing that will create a life free from old past patterns so that we can write our unwritten story. You may remember that our theme this month is Bright Beginnings. This is our global theme all across our CSL communities this month, Bright Beginnings. And this week, week 3 of April, our talk title, of course, is Unwritten, and our theme is Creativity and Infinite Possibility. Infinite possibility. We are the co-creators of our life. Infinite possibility. And as we make our journey through this life, and as we continue to study our relationship with what Dr. Holmes, our founder, calls the creative genius back of everything, our lessons can enlighten us to the truth of our relationship with universal metaphysical principle, and that each of us has inherited this universal metaphysical principle. As Deepak Chopra says, God is the evolutionary impulse of the universe, and we've inherited this evolutionary impulse, and that each moment in our life is filled with that evolutionary potential, with choice and with variety, because each of us is different and each of us is thinking different thoughts. And the more that we do our spiritual practice, the more we may notice, we ourselves did not create our creative nature. It already exists within us as we arrive here. It's part of who we are. It's part of the actual definition of who we are as spiritual human beings, as divine individualizations of the one life. And the more that we study and practice using this universal creativity, the more we're going to discover that we can get better, progressively get better and better at using it like we've never used it before. We're seeing this in the world around us right now. There is more oneness. I'm not talking about our governments. Our governments are scrambling to handle the details of the coronavirus pandemic, and frankly, none of them have really done a great job at it up until now. Maybe Argentina. I heard Sharon told me the other day that Argentina was doing a really good job, or maybe it was Brazil. One of the ways that we may use our creative nature is by engaging this gift, our imagination. This is the way that we create a new story, is by engaging our imagination. Check this out.
In life, everybody around you is a teacher for you. If you're in a bad relationship right now, you are a student of how to have a better relationship. If you're in a bad situation with your boss, that is a teaching situation for you to learn how to get yourself a better boss. Who would have thought in all of the years of the Oprah Show that Jim Carrey would be one of our greatest teachers? Jim Carrey! obviously you knew. Obviously, you knew somewhere inside yourself that you were destined to be famous, because I think it's really a marvelous thing, that visualization thing you did. Do y'all read about this or hear this? That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night.
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize,
This is when you were broke and poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work, or whatever that is. And I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
This was in like 1987, 85?
Yeah.
And
I had nothing at that time, so it was like, but it just made me feel better. It made me, at that time, all it really was for me was kind of making me feel better. I would drive home and think, well, I do have these things, and they're out there. I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there.
Okay, so you would get this from what, self-help books or whatever?
Yeah, self-help section.
Self-help section.
They've renamed it the Jim Carrey wing.
So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff, but then just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, maybe.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Yeah.
So you visualize yourself like...
Weird,
Visualization works if you work hard.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't just visualize and
Yeah.
then, you know, go eat a sandwich.
I love that. That was such a powerful moment for me, because I was not a person who did visualization or thought about my belief system in such a practical way. But I learned a lot from Jim Carrey on that show, and he is absolutely correct. If you can see it and believe it, it is a lot easier to achieve it. So thank you, Jim, for reminding us of that lesson. And it doesn't mean that for every person that writes the $10 million check that that's going to happen for you, because so many times people who do that process live in the space of wanting and resisting it instead of writing it, visualizing it, seeing it for yourself, and then letting it go. Letting it go, but moving in the direction of working toward it. So nothing happens at first. It's over the process of the time and the effort and the energy that you put into a thing that the energy comes out.
You know, we say we treat and move your feet. You don't visualize and then go have a sandwich. You know, since I first heard that story about Jim Carrey many years ago, in my briefcase, I always like to keep this $1 million bill to remind me that I'm never without the support of the universe. These are readily available. It's actually, I had it laminated. So it's a $1 million bill that I keep in my briefcase all the time. Just if I ever feel a little bit broke, I take it out and I look at it and I remind myself that I am never poor. I am never without my divine supply, my divine resource, which is not money, not my checking account, not my salary, not my work. It is God and my relationship to the metaphysical nature of the universe and my willingness to accept my good. One of my favorite metaphysical authors, Neville Goddard, said, "Imagination creates our experience. Our imagination is the point where we intersect with the creative power of the divine. Our imagination is the point where we intersect with the creative power of the divine." And psychologist and author Gay Hendricks believes that visualization is one of the most powerful tools for change. The most powerful tool for change. And he says, many people are propelled by events of the past, but visualization is an act of projecting the present into the future. Oh, love that. Many people are propelled by events of the past, but visualization is an act of projecting the present into the future. Our present thinking is the foundation upon which our next moments are built. What we're thinking into the divine, receptive nature of universal mind is what becomes the seed of our upcoming experiences. And maybe this is the same sentiment that inspired Oprah when she wrote, "You are the author of your own life. Don't let others define it for you. Real power comes to you by doing what you're meant to be doing and doing it well." Real power. I like to go back to, several stories of people in our community. One, of course, is the story of Paula Garib that I tell often about when she's sitting in the dentist chair and saying, this is going to be a wonderful experience and having it. But also, here's an evolutionary moment for you. At the beginning of our service, we saw that beautiful video by Emily singing "I'm Yours." And I swear, not everybody's heard this communication, but Emily, when I mentioned to her in choir like a year and a half ago, "You have a beautiful voice. When are you going to sing in front of the community as a solo?" And she said, "I could never do that. I could never do that." And I said to her, "Yes, you could. Stop saying I could never do that. Start saying I can do it. And when am I going to do it?" Right? Like Jim Carrey, what are you going to use your beautiful imagination for? What are you going to use your God-given... The mind does not exist within your cranium here. Your mind is infinite. It's part of the mind of the divine. What are you going to use your beautiful imagination for? Are you going to pour all of your creative, powerful energy into worrying? Are you going to always be at the worst case scenario? I know many of us were brought up in households where that kind of thinking was considered to be the responsible thing to do. Be concerned. Be concerned. I tell you, my mom, Selma, was a natural metaphysician. She used to jokingly warn us not to waste. She'd say, "Don't waste your worry. You might need it someday. Don't waste your worry. You might need it someday." And in our teaching, in the science of mind, we learn a better way to use our creative power by imagining the world the way that we would like to see it. Imagining the world, imagining our experience, our individual experience, the way that we would individually like to see it, and imagining the experience of the world the way that we would like to see the world. I see a lot of people doing that right now and making experiences manifest with kindness in ways that we haven't seen in a while. Humanity is pulling together, in a way that is almost unprecedented. I mean, we've seen it before. There's a hurricane, there's an earthquake in Haiti, there's, a tsunami. But this coronavirus pandemic is all across planet Earth. And people, the individualized mind of the divine, are pulling together and combining our creative thought, combining our community consciousness, combining the race, the human race vision into a new experience, a new paradigm of kindness, of giving, of love. And I see it when I go out on the street. I see it the way that people are kind. I don't go onto the street, but I do go to like Trader Joe's. I see it the way that people are kind. Yesterday morning, I went to CVS at 8 a.m. to wait in line for an hour to get toilet paper. It's kind of like one of the weekly things that I do. And I brought my my beach chair. And I was the first person there at 8 o'clock, and someone else didn't actually show up till about 8:15, a young guy. And he was standing in line behind me. And as the store was getting ready to open up, I stood up and got ready to just fold up my beach chair and put it on the wall as I was going to go in the store and buy my toilet paper. And the guy that was standing behind me says, "I'll save your place in line if you want to go put your beach chair into your trunk." And I said to him, "I don't think anybody's going to really steal my beach chair, but thank you. Thank you for your kindness." It's like people are not in fear. He was not going to say, "Hey, if you go put your beach chair into your car, you lose your place in line." He was just like, "I'll save your place in line." I was like, thank you. People are being really kind. I invite you to consider this week what a bright beginning for you might look like. What direction would you like to see emerge for you and your loved ones? Sit down in a chair. Sit down in a chair and think to yourself, what do I want to experience this week. Mary declared a beautiful experience for all of us in her treatment. That's the kind of thing that we each need to do. We need to declare what our experience is going to be. And I invite you to consider this week, what does a bright beginning look like for you? What direction would you like to see emerge for you? What will you contribute to our world this week? I also want to invite you this week to take some time and sit quietly and use your imagination to do what Don Miguel Ruiz describes as dreaming a new dream for creation. Dreaming a new dream for creation. So, as we begin to let go of some of our old ways of thinking, or all of our old ways of thinking, we create space to make new decisions and new choices. Today, I invite us all to allow new decisions and new choices to write a new chapter of our life, an unwritten chapter, one that creates a better experience for ourselves and for all the people around us. Let's write a story where we participate in making the world a better place. Let's write a story where we know that God in us, as us, is us. Let's write a story where we understand that God in us, as us, is us. For our backronym this week, I go back to Don Miguel Ruiz's Dreaming a New Dream for the Universe, and what I did was I took the word dreaming and I created divine right evolutionary action is our mind's infinite nature of good. Divine right evolutionary action is our mind's infinite nature of good. And of course, our affirmation for this week, so beautifully read originally by Mary, vision for the year is 2020 vision, and what we add at HDCSL is one life in focus. 2020 vision, one life in focus. Dr. Holmes reminds us that our experience here on planet Earth is perfect God, perfect human, perfect being. We know that God is perfect. We know that our humanity is perfect, and together, God and I, God and you, God as one infinite intelligence, is perfect being. So now, in this moment, I'd like to invite us all to just take a moment to pray. Join me, please, in prayer. Let me play some music here for us. There it is. So in this moment, Mary says she's lost sound. Lost audio. Where did we lose audio? Oh, maybe one of those slides is maybe one of those slides is muted. I'll check. You lost a couple of words of my brilliant wisdom. I'm so sorry. Now let me go back to let's see. Muted. Okay, the affirmation was muted. And let's see, was that one muted? That one wasn't muted. And that one wasn't muted. It was the affirmation that was muted. All right, I'll go back to the affirmation. Today, I write the unwritten chapter of my life absolutely free from my past experiences. I invite you all now to join me in prayer. Let's take a moment. Let's just breathe together. And in this moment, here's what I know. I know that there is one life, one perfect presence, one divine creative intelligence expressing through and as each of us. And I know that this divine creativity is also our individualized imagination, and that it's unlimited, and that it is the source of all of our creativity, all of our abundance, wealth, prosperity, and what we can imagine does become part of our manifested experience here on planet Earth. And so I speak my word right now for each of us in this community, our family, our friends, our high desert community, our state, our country, and planet Earth. Knowing that as we open to this metaphysical nature of universal mind, as we open to our relationship with it, as we open to our use of it, our experience changes, our story changes, and we write an unwritten chapter based in the new: kindness, love, peace, joy, opulence, health and well-being, wellness. I know that we are safe and protected. I know that we are smart and intelligent. I know that we are wise in our use of mind. We do not waste this spiritual currency on worry. We use our spiritual coin to create new, exciting, prosperous, and healthy lives for ourselves and for those that we love and care for. I know that all is well. And in this knowing and in gratitude for this knowing, I release my word into the action of that divine creative law, knowing that it's mechanically accurate, lovingly impersonal, and I let it be and I let it go. As together we say, and so it is, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, well, we're coming down to the end of our service today. I want to remind you all that the center does depend on your contributions. You've been doing great. But, it's still very, very tight throughout this time. So, and I know that everybody's in a changed paradigm in terms of work and, the experience of work and supply. But I just want to thank you and remind you that I asked Steve Colucci today if he would do a video as the fixer of all things on the ways that that you could all participate in contributing to the center. So hopefully Steve will be able to put together something very, very creative and fun that we can all see to know all the different ways that we can contribute to the center. So one of the ways, of course, is through Give Plus Mobile, e-giving. And then you can always go to our website. And if you go to our website, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of any page on our website, and you'll find that give, that donate button there. And of course, you can mail in your contribution to the High Desert Center for Spiritual Living, 18575 Corwin Road, Apple Valley, California, 92307. And our website is high-desertcsl.org. And you can also drop off a tithe right there at the mailbox. So let's say our giving affirmation right now. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And of course, I do my absolute best whenever I'm clicking on something online or doing any kind of a transaction at Trader Joe's. I try to remember always to say, I bless this gift in faith, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. Yes. Right after service today, we're going to go into Zoom Fellowship, and then that Zoom Fellowship will fold directly into our April board meeting. We don't have an awful lot going on in terms of the board meeting, but we should have a board meeting and discuss the things that are coming up. And I think we're doing a great job. Your board is doing a wonderful job of helping me keep our community together and to make sure that everything at the center gets taken care of. I want to thank Judy and Frank for continuing to do stuff around the center. Frank, of course, really lovingly, Frank and Clay really lovingly care for our center and have a lot of other volunteers that help out. Richard and Dawn and Brandy and so many others. And if I've forgotten to say your name, it's just because I didn't plan to say any, I didn't write it down. So, but thank you all for everything that you do. And so our Zoom meeting, I did send out a text a few minutes ago to everybody with our Zoom meeting link. The Zoom meeting ID is 989-4819 5716. You can also call in 669-900-6833. And if you do go to zoom.us/join, you'll be presented with a screen that looks like this, and you can put that number, that 989-4819. You can also just go ahead and click on the link that I texted to everybody. If you are not still on our text list, if you're somehow watching this and you're not part of our online community that I make text affirmations and send out voice affirmations to every single day, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm at 661-313-6044, and I would love to include you on our list. And let's see. Let's do all is well. Let's do our closing New Thought benediction and do all is well. And here, I'm going to go ahead and put my text number. Thank you, Charles says. Charles says the community remains together largely due to Doug's expertise and work. These messages in the Zoom get-togethers. Thanks, Doug. You are welcome. Here's I'm putting my, if you go to the chat here, there's my number, 661-313-6044. If you send me a text, and say that you want to be included on our list, I will include you. So I invite us all to just sing along. And so it is. And here we go. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. I know that the infinite indwelling Spirit blesses and protects you. I know that Spirit is kind and gracious through you. And I know that Spirit shines its light upon you and is your peace. And so it is. Amen. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. One more time. Life is good, and so it is. All right. I want everybody to join us on our Zoom meeting, which we'll get to in just a minute. But we close out, as we traditionally always do, with Daniel Nahmod's God Makes Me Want to Sing. Here we go.